Hi guys, long time no see. Um, I am actually in an old location that I used to do videos in many years ago. So, which is our spare bedroom, which is really essentially our junk room, which has now kind of been taken over by homeschooling supplies since we now have two little boys, 3 and 2, but I do homeschool them, so I do preschool. Also, I'm very sorry, it seems to be the video is not keeping up with what I'm saying, which is great. But I am actually going to go over what I read in the month of January. Um, and the very first thing that I have is Seduced by Madness, the true story of the Susan Polk murder case by Carol Pogash, or I'm not even sure. And since I have not done this in years, you guys are going to have to just excuse my inexperience here. I used to be very experienced at doing YouTube videos, not now. This I actually had started in December and I finished in January, and it is the true story, obviously, of Susan who kills her husband. Now, this I would only recommend to people who actually enjoy crime, true crime stories, because there is so much court. I guess there's so many court scenes and what happens in the court and what she says. And let me tell you, like, I can't even imagine I've been there whenever they were actually holding the court cases, because I just, apparently she went on for days on end of testimony because she represented herself. So, I don't know. There were times where I was like, seriously, like, I just want to get finished with this book, but yet I'm enjoying myself. And at this point, I can't even remember whether gave it a 3 or 4 out of 5 stars, but it's either 3 or 4. Because of course it's enjoyable because it's a true crime story and I enjoy those, but yet it was also so long and it was boring at parts. But I did enjoy it. Now the next one, which is Last Chance Beauty Queen by Hope Ramsey. I started this a few months ago, actually, and I put it down because I ended up getting other books to read. And when I picked this back up, totally was right back in the story. It's that good of a story. Now, sometimes when I put down a book, it's very hard for me to get back into the story. But this, it was not. And I actually believe this is part of a series. And I actually think that possibly I got this for free, maybe? I don't know if I ordered this, because it's been a long time since I've ordered books. But I am thinking possibly that I got this for free. But it is part of a series, and I really actually enjoyed it, because it is about a younger lady. I think she might be in her, or maybe she's 30 or 29 or 30, somewhere around there. And she is from a small town, and she's kind of trying to not be a small town girl. So she is working for a senator, a completely different look. She was like the strawberry queen or whatever of the town whenever she was like 18. And so she's trying to put that image away and give herself a completely different image. But there is a man from England who is actually there to purchase her father's land. And that's what the story is about. Her job, because she works for the senator, is actually to help get her dad to sell the land to the Englishman. But, of course, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to help your dad sell his land? You just wouldn't want to do that. So, she is torn. She's not really sure what to do. The story, obviously, there's romance. I mean, come on. I actually really enjoyed it. I find that it's more like a fluffy, loving type read. Obviously, there's some dips here and there of things that happen, but overall, it's just enjoyable to read if you enjoyed romance exploitation. But anyway, this was pretty good, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. The next is Black-Hearted Betrayal, which is the third book in the A Shades of Fury series. This is by Mackenzie. This, I actually start reading, I think, like, April of 2015, and I put it down because I was reading other books, and I never did come back to it until this month, and I actually was able to pretty much pick it up where I left off. I was a little confused for a few pages, but then I was good to go. And I really enjoyed this series. I think I gave the first book a 5-star rating. I gave the second book a 4th star, and I gave this one a 5-star. I absolutely have enjoyed the series. This is Reese, or Reese. I don't know how you would say her name. I said Reese in my head through the whole series. She is kind of like an inspector, detective, police officer of like the magic world, which is entwined with our world. It's kind of normal for there to be magic and mythical creatures in the world that she lives in. Like we wouldn't think anything of it. Um, this was just really enjoyable. I think that she did a really good job of continuing on the story. You know, sometimes by that second and third book, I am like done. But I am so not done. There is a number 4 book on Goodreads, but it still hasn't came out. So I'm thinking possibly that she is not going to be writing the 4th book, which is very disappointing. But this one was pretty cool because this actually took place, like, probably half of the book took place in the underworld. It was so fabulous. I loved reading it. I thought it was very interesting. It gave us like a peek of a different kind of world that I had never actually read about. I've read about the underworld in a lot of books, but this was a little bit different, and I really enjoyed it. So this was definitely a 5-star rating, and I highly recommend this for anybody who likes supernatural books. The next is The Last Illusion, which is a Molly Murphy mystery by Reese Bowen. And this was a book about Houdini. And Molly Murphy, the lady on the front, apparently is like a female detective. And I'm thinking this was in the 1800s, if I'm right. No, not 1800s. It would have been in the early 1900s. That's awful that I don't know when Houdini was around. Very early 1900s. That's what I was thinking. Early 1900s, and obviously a female detective was not your norm. And it was actually kind of looked down on. Well, she was looked down on. People made fun of her because they're like, seriously, a female detective? I don't think so. But she is a female detective, and she is actually seeing a police officer. So I guess in a way, he's not too happy that she's out there engaging in dangerous acts. But she is. And so this one is about Houdini, and she was actually at the show and saw some weird, crazy things happen at the show, and she actually gets involved in investigating to see what really happened, which then leads on into her working with Houdini, and it goes to a place that I never even knew was something that occurred with magicians, which is totally cool, and I'm not going to say anything about it, but it is totally cool, and actually not too surprising that it did occur. There's some crazy things that happen. She gets herself in danger, which I'm going to guess is probably the norm for this series. But it was very enjoyable, and I do believe I gave it either a 4 or a 5 out of 5 stars. It was really good. If you like murder mysteries or mysteries in general, I think that you'll really enjoy this. And the last book that I read this month was Icing on the Lake by Katherine Clark. I've had this obviously for a long time. All of my books I've had for a long time because I haven't done any book shopping in a long time because 2 little kids came into my life and things have been totally different since then. But this is just a cute little romance. It's more along the lines of teenager love. Some of these books I struggle with, but actually Katherine Clark, I'm thinking I must enjoy her things, or her writing, her books. This was very easy to read. I flew right through it, which is very hard for me to do whenever I do have 2 little ones. It's hard for me to engage in books. But this I read in like 2 days, which is really odd, even though everybody else would be looking at this and thinking, man, it took you 2 days to read that. But it's very hard when you have little ones and you're homeschooling and you're home with them all the time. So I really enjoyed it. It's about a girl who goes and stays with her sister in a different town. She meets a guy, she meets another guy, and she wants to learn to ice skate better, and she's watching her little nephew in the midst of all that. And then there's a weekend getaway that she has planned with her friends, and she has to get a date for this weekend before that point in time. And so it's just kind of a light-hearted, Cool Whip type book, and it's not deep at all. So don't go into expecting it's going to be like deep. But if you are looking for a read that is lighthearted and easy to read, I would definitely recommend this. And I gave it a 4 out of 5. So that's all I've read for this month, or for the month of January. It's now February. I can't recommend. I can't reassure you that I'm going to be reading it a lot, because really the only reason why I read some of these, or as many as I did, was because some of them had already started. They were halfway done. It's just hard for me to read anymore, which is really hard for me to say because that was my life. And it's just so different for the past 2 years of having little ones. Actually, almost 3 years of having little ones now. So anyway, it was good seeing you guys. Not that I can really see you, but hopefully I will be back. So bye.